This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it looks like it was the fake Indians' turn yesterday. Yes, it was Liz Warren's turn to embarrass the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as I say all the time, sitting here behind enemy lines that my elected representatives take turns. Depends what day it is. Ed Markey, Ayanna Pressley, Catherine Clark, Mayor Wu, Maura Healey, each and every day. These people absolutely humiliate the people of Massachusetts and sink to new lows. And no one does that better than Liz Warren, the fake Indian, a 76-year-old irrelevant backbencher who built her career on a lie, claimed that she was an American Indian. That's how she got the job at Harvard. Hell, that's how she got into the U.S. Senate, stealing a spot from an actual Native American. Well, Liz just keeps on humiliating us. And yesterday, she showed up at a union hall in New York City to endorse a communist, to endorse Zamdani, Zoran Mamdani. I combined his name. Zoran Mamdani, as we know, is a flat-out communist. He said his ultimate goal is to seize the means of production. One of his planks on his platform is to have government-owned grocery stores. Every single one of his positions is absolutely extreme and insane. He wants to defund the NYPD, even though he's lying about it now. He has a long track record of calling to defund the NYPD. He wants free buses, free health care, free sex changes for children. He's actually quite the contradiction. He's a devout Muslim who is all in on LGBTQ rights and sex changes for kids. So he's about as extreme as it gets. He is not a Democrat. He is an actual Marxist. That is pretty well established. And for that reason, many prominent Democrats, hell, most prominent Democrats are staying as far away from this lunatic as they can. Has not been endorsed by Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or Kathy Hochul. These are far left Democrats, and he's too extreme for them. But here comes the fake Indian. There is no one too extreme for Liz Warren. She shows up in New York City to give I think, his first real prominent endorsement, unless you count AOC, who is joined at the hip with Mamdani. Liz Warren showed up and endorsed all his positions, including government-owned grocery stores. Now, we expect this kind of thing from Pocahontas, but it's worth taking a moment to appreciate just how far, just how off the rails the Democrat Party has gone. She sits in the U.S. Senate in JFK's old seat. JFK, if he were alive today and held the same positions he held 65 years ago, would be a MAGA guy. I mean, he would be a Republican. He wouldn't even recognize his old party. And boy, do we have a lot of proof of that today. We will get to Jasmine Crockett and Ramirez, Delia Ramirez, and all the rest of the crazies who are controlling the Democrat Party. But here's Liz in New York City yesterday endorsing the commie.
If someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
That is the Democrat message. Government-owned grocery stores, free everything, childcare, transportation, you name it. That is the Democrat message from a prominent Democrat who was so influential that she's been accused of controlling the auto pen for the Biden administration. Yes, David Sachs said she was in charge of the auto pen and she used it to try to stop the proliferation of the crypto industry, according to Trump's crypto czar. But this is really kind of illuminating when you think about it. I mean, other than Hakeem or Chuck Schumer, you don't get a more prominent Democrat. Obviously, she's a far left extremist who couldn't get elected anywhere other than maybe California or Rhode Island. Obviously, most of the country looks at her, listens to her, and just cringes. Get that clip she posted this morning from her car. I love when she does this. I don't think her advisors do her any favors. They see her do this. They watch a video like this and say, yeah, let's post it. Let's watch it go viral. Is that what you want? You want the whole country to watch this and listen to this? This is, to quote Lloyd Christmas, this is the most annoying sound in the world. This is Liz Warren, my senior senator, speaking as she drives to work, I guess, and doubling down on her support for the commie Mamdani. Here she is.
Let's talk about Zoran Mamdani. The billionaires are crying tears into their coffee mugs about Zoran's massive victory in New York City to become the Democratic nominee for mayor. Now, the way I see it, Zoran ran a campaign that inspired people, that actually got people on their feet and out the doors, kind of inspired. And the issue he focused on? Affordability. I'm talking housing, childcare, transportation. So we should be asking ourselves, why are billionaires and Wall Street CEOs pouring millions of dollars into a race to stop Zoran? You know who hates freezing the rent? Real estate moguls. Some of the people hosting the big ticket fundraisers for Eric Adams. And you know who doesn't like paying their fair share in taxes? Well, the Wall Street billionaires bankrolling Andrew Cuomo's campaign. The reality is the wealthy and well-connected like having a politician in office that's in their pocket. There's reasons that Adams barely escaped prosecution on charges of bribery and fraud. And look, even after Cuomo vowed to start an anti-corruption commission.
Oh, that's enough. Shut up. I mean, honest to God, when is she going to stop with the billionaires and millionaires? She went on CNBC. I saw this, and she went through the whole spiel about billionaires don't pay their fair share and Wall Street fat cats don't want him to win. And the host, one of the co-anchors, just said, they're not, if he wins, they're going to leave. They're going to leave New York. Companies, billionaires, taxpayers are going to leave. And then how is the commie going to afford any of his programs? And her response was, if she doesn't want working people to leave. So if he loses, if Cuomo or Adams somehow won, that working people, the people she's so concerned with, they will leave New York. Well, why haven't they left already? It's a very expensive place to live. It's a difficult place to make a living. But the tax base is going to flee. It already is fleeing, but she doesn't care about that. She's such a liar and such a hypocrite. She takes more money from Wall Street, from fat cats, from Big Pharma than almost anyone in D.C. Hell, she's a millionaire. She has increased her net worth by like tenfold since she's been in the Senate. She's worth something like $70 million, has a $6 million mansion in Cambridge, and then another property in D.C. She's fabulously wealthy, and all she does is rail against millionaires and billionaires. It's so tired. And I guess it's a good day for commie Mamdani, although he doesn't have the support of working people. He doesn't have the support of Black voters and Hispanic voters. He has that, what you're looking at right now. Old cat ladies. That's who support him. Old, wealthy cat ladies on the Upper East Side. And they are big Liz Warren fans. They will like this, but they were already supporting the commie who has a big lead, who's going to win, who's going to do everything in his power to destroy our biggest and most important city. And then what will Liz Warren say when the tax base dwindles? Because the earners, the makers, the achievers say, I can't do this. I can't live in a city with a communist mayor whose ultimate plan, as he has said, is to seize the means of production, who says he does not believe in capitalism. Liz Warren won't get asked that. The Boston Globe won't reach out to her today and said, what do you think about Mamdani's plan and how it'll affect the tax base? What do you think of his ultimate goal of seizing the means of production? She would have no answer for that. She'd just go off on billionaires and zillionaires and fat cats and Wall Street. It's just so tired. She is just so annoying and just so irrelevant. She really is kicking and screaming. She's howling at the moon because she's in the minority party. She has no influence. She doesn't control the auto pen anymore. She has no real power, and all she can do is screech into her phone as she drives to work. Well, that's one bit of evidence today that the Democrat Party has gone off the rails, but there is so much more. They have no leader. Their message is been rejected by the American people. And right now, they're a bunch of just brats screaming like in the grocery store with mom, screaming that so they can get Fruit Loops or get candy. That's the way the Democrats are acting right now. As you know, all the state reps in Texas fled the state trying to stop redistricting, gerrymandering in Texas. And I don't think whoever advised them on this plan really thought it through, because they fled to Illinois. Some came to New York, some to Massachusetts. These are the most gerrymandered places in the country. Chicago, Illinois, wrote the book on gerrymandering. If you see the map of Illinois, it is the most gerrymandered place. In Illinois, Trump got 45% of the vote. That's pretty good. State of Illinois. Their congressional representatives, they have 17. 3 are Republicans. Does that sound fair? Massachusetts, Trump got 36% of the vote, 1.25 million votes. We have 0 Republican representatives, 0 Republican senators. Does that sound fair? But trying to do it in a red state, which has been gerrymandered before by Democrats, that's a threat to democracy, of course. That's fascism. And they're out in full force trying to stop this, calling it racist, of course. Nobody is kicking and screaming more than Jazzy Crockett. God, I hope you know what? I have mixed emotions here. It would be great to see them gerrymander her out of a job. But then what would we do? I guess she could get a show on MSNBC or CNN. She's never going away. She's a 44-year-old, single, childless lunatic who is feeling emboldened, empowered right now and getting all the attention, which is not a good thing. If you're Chuck Schumer or you're Hakeem Jeffries or Barack Obama, you're saying, could this woman just take a vacation? Could she just avoid, a camera for a change? But no. I think most Democrats must be uncomfortable with this absolute unhinged piece of trash, which is what she is. Here's just a couple of clips from just the last couple days from the biggest star in the Democrat Party right now, crazy Jazzy Crockett. Here's what she says about the commander-in-chief. This is a sitting congressman talking about the president who just got 77 million votes, who has the support of more than half the country and the support of the state of Texas, where he won big. This is a Texas rep talking about the president of the United States. Go ahead.
Because the Supreme Court has paved the way for half the stuff that we see that's going on. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes, he is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the places that we have to start is they are the highest court in the land, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts and they do.
Yeah, they stop them.
What does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and they refuse to put guardrails on themselves. So it's time for us to do it for them.
and they cheer. She is loving this. She thinks she's friggin' Taylor Swift right now. She thinks she's the biggest star in the country. She's Beyonce. She is loving this. She's in Arizona. She's cheering on the Texas state reps who fled the state and are now facing arrest by Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick and the other Texas officials, which is going to be great, which is what they have to do. This is a test. It really is, to see if Republicans are ready to fight dirty the way Democrats always do. See if they're ready to go all in and arrest these theater kids who got on a private jet and flew to Illinois to protest gerrymandering. She wasn't done. No, she just can't stop. Here she is again, talking about the president of the United States and calling him, what does she say? Orange orangutan? Somewhere. JFK is rolling in his grave. Check this out.
This bill is going to continue to move on the Senate side because the Senate side is still in, but the House is not in. And as we know, it's got to pass both chambers before it can get to anybody's desk. So as of right now, there is nothing that they can do as relates to the House. I am so very proud. Please, please, please look up these amazing state representatives, show them some love, encourage them, because this is really hard to make the decision that you're going to leave your family behind as you go and hide out, because we got a rogue bootleg criminal attorney general who absolutely is like wanting to be Trump 2.0 himself, and he wants to put warrants out for people, even though like he's the one that was under federal investigation for years, and he's the one that had felony indictments pending for years, and of course was avoiding prosecution for years. Yeah, because like that's what makes you real MAGA, is like you got to be about this thug life. You got to be like cheating on your wife. You got to at least be going to get impeached if you ain't been impeached, because he was impeached. He just wasn't convicted again. We've kind of seen this play out before anyway, but he got the nerve to talk about who should be arrested. Give me a break. Kind of like, you know, the orange orangutan, you know, the Timu Hitler, he on the same nonsense too. Bro, you the real criminal. Like, stop coming for people that's out here in these streets just trying to make this country really work by going to work, and so you grabbing them up at work. That's a whole other issue. Anyway, the point is I am currently in Arizona. And
that is incredible. That is a U.S. congressperson. That is a congressperson. Again, if the new plan, I'm not sure they'll be able to gerrymander out of a job. I hope they do. That will be great. But if they don't, that's okay too, because she, every time she opens her mouth, every time she goes in front of a camera, they lose support. I have no doubt. Again, the 2026 midterms are going to be big, and right now, it does not look like Democrats are poised to take back the House. Certainly not if they gerrymander, if they redistrict Texas and make it fair, is what they should do. And Democrats are vowing to fight back. Kathy Hochul and Pritzker saying they're going to do the same thing. They've already done it. They did it in New York before the last midterm and got rid of 2 or 3 Republicans. They've already done it. This is what they do. This is the Democrat playbook. The idea that somehow this is radical or unheard of is just insane. But we got a lot to get to. We got more. We got so much more. It's a tough day. It's a tough time to be a Democrat. I can't imagine your average working class, I don't know, union guy in Michigan or Wisconsin is listening to Liz Warren and Jasmine Crockett say, yeah, that's my guy. Those are my guys. That's my team. I'm on her team. How embarrassing would that be to be on her team? Well, we got more bad news for Democrats from Harry Enton, the wacky pollster from CNN. And we got to get to this. Jim Acosta, remember him? Just another broken man. Trump just ruined him. He lost his job at CNN. He now does a podcast, and he had a guest that was just bizarre and sick and just insane. A dead kid. Yes, a kid who was killed in a school shooting joined Jim Acosta on his podcast. You think it sounds insane? Wait till we get to it. It's even worse than you think. It really is. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
If you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. All right, before we get to Jim Acosta's absolutely bizarre interview with a dead child, we got to update a few big stories from last week, which are just going great. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying the Sydney Sweeney phenomenon. As I said last week, it feels like a pivotal moment in the culture. It feels like the pendulum has swung back toward common sense. We have an ad for jeans featuring a beautiful woman, an actress who looks great in jeans, who looks great in her Mustang GTO. And the best news, it is working, and American Eagle is not backing down. They're doubling down. They took out a massive billboard in Times Square featuring Sydney Sweeney. The jeans are selling out, and the stock is going through the roof thanks to the orange orangutan, as Jasmine Crockett would say. Donald Trump was asked about the Sydney Sweeney ad and informed that she's a registered Republican in Florida. And to her credit, she herself hasn't backed down or apologized. We'll get to the people harassing her for making an ad very similar to the one Beyonce made not long ago for jeans. But here's Trump talking about Sydney Sweeney and learning that she is indeed a registered Republican in Florida. Go ahead.
Actress Sydney Sweeney came out this weekend that she was a registered Republican. Any thoughts on that?
That who was?
Sydney Sweeney. She's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican? Yeah. Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Just that moment is amazing when you think about it. For 4 years, Biden never took an impromptu question. Not one. He never did that. The media never informed him on the fly of some breaking news and had him react to it. It didn't happen. Trump does it every day. It's amazing. And after that answer, the American Eagle stock soared. It went up almost 20% in one day. They're making a fortune, and they're not backing down. And Democrats continue to just run with this insane narrative that somehow an ad featuring a beautiful white woman who has good genes is racist. Sydney Sweeney made an appearance, and they start yelling at her, heckling her. What did she do? I mean, first of all, she didn't write the ad. She just took the job, made the ad, did a great job. It's working. God bless her that she was willing to do this. But as we said last week, no one actually believes this is racist. No one believes it's Nazi propaganda. Someone on TV or someone online told them it was. So these crazy, unhinged Democrats ran with it, decided this ad featuring a white woman is somehow racist, even though Beyonce made a very similar ad. No one said a word. Here's Sydney Sweeney making an appearance, and they start yelling at her and telling her, "You're racist." Good.
Stop the ad. That is being racist. Stop the ad. That is being racist.
That's being racist? What the hell is racist about it? As I've said for a week now, we say, black people or mixed race people have good, Patrick Mahomes has good genes. He's mixed race. LeBron James has good genes. Big, strong, tall, athletic. Those are good genes. Sydney Sweeney is beautiful and fit. She has good genes. How is that racist? You know what the answer is? It's not. And they all know it. They know it isn't racist, but they just latch on to this crazy angle. And it's not working. Again, it feels like a kind of a crossing the Rubicon here, where you couldn't make that ad 4 years ago. Hell, you couldn't make any ad that didn't feature, all the colors of the rainbow, a biracial couple, and the only time a white guy could appear in an ad is if he's a total buffoon, if he's the butt of the joke. Now you can actually make an ad to sell jeans, and you could have a spokeswoman, a model, an actress who is really good at it, and they did that, and now they're reaping the benefits. And it feels like, just like Liz Warren, it feels like all these unhinged libs on TikTok are just screaming into the abyss. No one's listening. It's not working. And I presume that other corporations are going to look at this and say, this is how you do it. That is a good thing. That is a turning point here in the culture, where we're not going to get bullied into these fake narratives about race, and hopefully, again, other companies will see this and say, holy crap, 20% in one day, they're making a fortune, they're making billions, and that's a good thing, and they're not backing down. We thought maybe a day or two they would do what they used to do, 4 or 5 years ago, back down, cancel her, apologize, and it didn't happen. What else we got here?
This is what happens if people try to attack her.
Okay, let's watch. Oh, yeah. That is Sydney Sweeney at the range, looking like John Wick.
I'm almost positive that's actually where Keanu Reeves.
It is. You're right. That's where John Wick, where Keanu Reeves trained, prepared for John Wick, the same range. And she posted a great score and got the cheers of the crowd. And again, drove the libs on TikTok crazy. Good for Sydney Sweeney. She's like 27 years old. She is just riding so high right now. And I assume she's going to make more ads and make more money. And that is a good thing. Maybe even she'll come out and support Donald Trump as a registered Republican in Florida. We can just assume she voted for him. I don't know if she'll actually admit it, because that would be really bold, but we will see. All right, another update. The Cincinnati story, which again, we talked about the beating. I can't stand when the media calls it a fight. It wasn't a fight. It was a beating. It was a mob of just out of control, violent people just beating the hell out of three white middle-aged people, including a woman named Holly, who got hospitalized, sucker punched, looked like she was dead on the ground in Cincinnati after the Jazz Fest. They arrested a fifth suspect. That's progress. They need to arrest about 20 more. And Benny Johnson started a GoFundMe, or I think it's GoFundMe, for Holly. They've raised now over $400,000 for Holly. Charlie Sheen donated $1,000 and commended Benny Johnson for starting this fund. She says she has brain trauma, certainly looks it. Her face is a mess. And we knew this was coming. We knew we would hear this at some point, and we did. This is from Fox News. Headline: Video of racial slur yelled during the brutal Cincinnati beatdown emerges. We knew this was 100%. This was going to be the next step, that someone would claim that someone used the N-word. Well, two things on this. First of all, I have no doubt the N-word was shouted. You can hear it. We could play the video, but it's bleeped and it's chaotic. And the person who shouted it was not the victims. There's no middle-aged white person, I don't care how crazy they are, who's going to yell the N-word in a mob of black people, black men. No one's going to do that. That's just not believable. Of course not. I mean, they wouldn't do it anywhere. That's usually the flaw in this made-up accusation, is that white people aren't saying that word. Black people are. So I have no doubt that one of the people in the mob used the word. I'd be shocked if they didn't. So clearly it wasn't one of the victims. Secondly, so what? I mean, even if they did, which they didn't, but even if they did, that doesn't mean they weren't assaulted. That doesn't excuse the violence we saw unfold. That doesn't explain why a middle-aged woman was put in the hospital with brain trauma and beaten and left to die on the sidewalk. So you're going to tell me this word, this radioactive word, this magical word that the black guys could say all day and night. They could say it on, comedians could say it, and singers can sing it. But if one of those white guys said it, that they deserve that beating, that makes no sense. And it certainly doesn't excuse them for what they did to these people. They must be held accountable, even though we went over this and there's people who just want to defend them and want to explain it and say, oh, I want to understand it. Remember the city councilwoman, Victoria Sparks, I believe her name was, who said she was grateful for the entire episode, an elected official, and she hasn't resigned yet. An elected official in Cincinnati said she was grateful to see 3 white people beaten up on the streets of her city. That is kind of scary. Yes. Grateful for the whole thing, she posted. City Councilor Victoria Sparks. That is incredible. But they are rounding them up, hopefully prosecuting them, and hopefully Holly will be okay. I think she's got enough money to cover her medical expenses, and that's a good thing. All right. How much time we got? I got so much I want to get to today, this Tuesday morning. Let's do the NBC report, because Pam Bondi has received the criminal referrals for the Obama cabal that attempted to undermine the Trump presidency, attempted to rig the 2016 election, and then to hamstring, to undermine the 45th president. It's quite clear that Tulsi Gabbard and others have uncovered a lot of evidence. They went through it. She has the receipts. She's shown us. They changed the intelligence report. Don't let the media gaslight you on this. And as I've explained, this is a hill the mainstream media will die on. They will do anything to protect Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. There are going to be arrests. I'm confident now that they have these criminal referrals, that there will be a grand jury, that there will be a prosecution. I hope to see John Brennan, James Comey, Clapper, Hillary handcuffed. I'm not sure about Barack Obama. We know he had presidential immunity, but as we explained last week, that means he can't lie. That means he has to tell the truth. Hopefully he will be forced to testify. And we're just going to have to continue to mock the mainstream media who have lied about this for 9 years. Hell, they ran with the Russia hoax. They believed that we played all the clips of saying Russia hacked the election and Putin did everything he could to get Trump elected. That was a lie, and they will continue to lie. And it's truly incredible to listen to them, to watch them say no evidence. That's their thing. Tulsi Gabbard made these accusations with no evidence, baseless accusations, even though she stood there at the podium with the receipts and showed you that they knew Hillary made this up. She paid for the Steele dossier. They knew it was all made up. They knew there was no collusion with Russia. They knew Trump Putin was not trying to get Trump elected. They knew it. Hell, Russia had the dirt on Hillary, and they saved it because they thought she was going to win, and they were going to use it to undermine her presidency. They could have used it during the campaign to help Trump win. They didn't, because they weren't trying to help Trump win. It was all a lie. It's the biggest hoax in American history, and it continues. Here's an NBC reporter with Hallie Jackson. This is a news reporter. This is not one of those lunatics on MSNBC at night and like Simone Sanders or Rachel Maddow who get paid to tell you the lies, get paid to carry the water for Democrats. This is a alleged reporter. See if you can find any flaws in her report on the new developments, the new evidence, the bombshell evidence Tulsi Gabbard released last week on the Russia hoax. Go ahead.
A couple of weeks ago, Hallie, when really the headlines were dominated by the Jeffrey Epstein controversy, and then the president was sort of trying to change the topic very obviously, and in many different venues, was trying to bring up these unsubstantiated claims about the role he argues former President Obama had in the 2016 election, and trying to suppress some information that he says would have been damaging if it had come to light. And so then you have the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, come to the White House briefing room, come to the podium and try to share some of this alleged new evidence. Well, now you have the Attorney General saying that they're going to try to take that information, which, remember, they had announced a strike force to look into what they call this new evidence and try to evaluate it to see if there could be any potential criminal indictments that they would follow. And the thing that matters here is that this is basically a grand jury investigation that's being launched, but that will happen in secret. This is behind closed doors, and it's completely unclear whether it will yield anything new. It's unclear that we will ever learn anything new about it because it could be under seal, but it really does bear repeating. This is looking into something for which there is no evidence to back it up. And it's really, it seems, a politically motivated move to keep the focus on one of the president's clear political foes and talk about basically anything else.
That is amazing. No evidence, baseless, political. They cannot tell you the truth. The moment they do that, they're indicting themselves. The moment they do that, they're admitting they were wittingly or unwittingly part of the conspiracy, part of the plan to run with that Russia hoax, that lie, which began with Hillary Clinton. And they cannot tell you the truth about Hillary or Barack Obama or any of the people involved in the conspiracy, because they're part of it, which is why this is, they fear this more than anything else, getting to the truth about this. I have no doubt that Comey, I have zero doubt that Comey knew it was made up, and he went on a media tour and talked about it like it was real. They did everything they could to stop Trump, and now they're going to accuse Trump of weaponizing the DOJ after they spent 2 years trying to put him in prison, trying to bankrupt him, trying to get him defeat him. They lost, and they continue to lose. But unlike other hoaxes, they are never, ever going to give this one up. They are going to stand by their guy, Barack Obama, because they were right there with him when they tried to run this by the American public. All right, I have so much. Let's get to this Dem rep. More bad news for Democrats. More examples of just how absolutely radical they are. This is an actual congresswoman. I'd never heard of her. Her name is Delia Ramirez. She's from Illinois. She's an anchor baby. Her mother came here from Guatemala, an illegal alien, gave birth in Chicago, and she became a citizen because of chain migration, or because of birthright citizenship. And then she ascended to the U.S. House of Representatives. Again, a sitting congresswoman. She's in Mexico City. She's in a foreign city speaking a foreign language, and she pledges her loyalty to a foreign country. Now, you can't understand it because, again, she's speaking Spanish, but we can tell you what she says here. First, go ahead, play it.
Decir unas palabras en español porque yo soy guatemalteca con mucho orgullo, primero que soy americana.
Now, if that were just some activist and she was down there, you'd say, okay, whatever. There's some people that love their homelands. She said she's more Guatemalan than American. A congresswoman, more Guatemalan than American, in Spanish to a cheering crowd in a foreign country. You got a problem here, Democrats. That is a problem. That she's not the first one. We've gone over it before. Mamdani, his loyalty lies with Uganda, a place where they put homosexuals to death. And now he's pandering to the LGBT crowd in New York and saying he wants to defund the police because they're anti-queer. I wonder if anyone's going to call him out on that or call her out for going to a foreign country and saying she's more Guatemalan than American, or Ilhan Omar saying she really wants to live in her homeland, Somalia, that she prioritizes Somalia over the U.S. Again, these are your elected Democrats, a problem for the party right now. I'm feeling better about the 2026 midterms every time one of these Democrats opens their mouth. All right, let's get to the most insane story of the day. This is, I don't even know how to set this up. Jim Acosta, again, this Trump-hating CNN guy. He was within feet of the president just a couple of years ago. He was their lead reporter in the White House. He was an absolute deranged Trump hater who never missed the opportunity to attack Trump. CNN, for whatever reason, they moved him to like midnight, and he allegedly refused, and they fired him. So now he has a podcast, and generally he just has other crazy Democrats on to talk about how much they hate Trump. But he had this moment yesterday, which he introduced as, never heard before seen or whatever. This is a kid who was killed in the Parkland school shooting in Florida a few years ago. His family made an image of him, an AI image, which is a little weird, but we all grieve in different ways. And then they offered him up for an interview, an AI image of a dead kid. And Acosta said, sure, I'll do it. I'm all in. And he interviews the AI image of someone who's been dead for years. This is so strange, so weird, so sick, so bizarre. I can't imagine agreeing to do this. You'd feel bad for the parents. You'd say, I'm sorry about your son, but that's not really, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this. But Acosta, of course, who's like 2 weeks away from dousing himself with gasoline and setting himself on fire because he's so starved for attention. He's so just needy that he agreed to do this. And he not only talked about gun control, because that's his parents, this kid's parents' real issue is gun control, but they talked about movies and NBA players with an AI image. Yes, that sounds insane, and it is, but just watch. Go ahead.
I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
He responds. He's conversing with an AI image.
Does he not look exactly like Keith Olbermann now? Look at him.
He looks like Rosie O'Donnell now before she, put on a few pounds. But that is incredible that he agreed to do that. And Joaquin would have been 25 years old today if he were alive. But he's not. That's not him. That is incredible. Joaquin Oliver, he was 17 when he was murdered in 2018 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And again, I feel bad for his parents. It must be brutal. They must be living in hell. And I don't know who suggested they bring their son back to life, but you're interviewing him and he's thanking you for the question, and you're conversing with him back and forth with an AI image. Oh, God, that is just bizarre and insane. And I can't imagine doing that. You want to get to crazy Harry Enten? Shouldn't call him crazy. He's just animated. He's theatrical, and he's the best thing. He and Scott Jennings are saving CNN. And Harry Enten, I don't know what his political leanings are, but he's not your typical CNN guy. He tells you the truth. When the polls are good for Trump, he tells you. And I'm sure at CNN they don't like this, but he does it anyway. And he's had some really good news for Trump over the weekend. Here he is talking about, is this Trump on immigration on the first?
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. This is good. And this to me is what Trump voters, some of them might be disappointed. They might want the Epstein files. Maybe they don't love all the tariffs or whatever, but this is why they voted for him. This is why they're not regretting their vote, that Trump stopped the invasion over the southern border. That's the most important thing, and they can't deny it. They have to give him that if Trump didn't win, we would still be seeing millions and millions of illegal aliens coming over the border, taking jobs, committing crimes. That ended. That's the greatest accomplishment any president has had in his first 6 months. And Harry Enten brings the numbers. Go ahead.
How about net migration in the United States? Get this, it's down. It's going to be down at least 60%. We may be dealing with, get this, negative net migration to the United States in 2025. That would be the first time there is negative net migration in this country in at least 50 years. We're talking about down from 2.8 million in 2024. So Donald Trump has always run on tariffs, and he's run on a hawkish line on immigration. And on both of those issues, we are seeing record high tariff rates for this century going all the way back, well back into the early part of the 20th century. And when it comes to immigration, net migration, we are seeing record low levels, way down from where we were during the Biden administration. We are potentially looking at negative net migration for the first time in at least 50 years.
That is so big. That is it right there. We can talk all day about other issues, but that's the big issue. And on that, Trump has delivered. And Harry puts it in perspective. And again, I'm sure Abby Phillips hates this and Jake Tapper hates this, but Trump, and it's kind of a low bar when you think about it, because he's following Biden, the worst president, one of the worst in American history. But Trump, according to Harry Enten, the most influential president we have seen in decades. Check this out.
The Donald Trump administration is arguably the most influential this century, and probably as well dating back a good portion of the last century as well. Love it, like it, lump it. Trump is remaking the United States of America. Let's talk about tariffs first, right? There's all this talk that Donald Trump always chickens out when it comes to tariffs. No tacos for Trump. The effective tariff rate, get this, it's 18%, the highest since the FDR administration in the 1930s, up from, get this, just 2% last year. From just 2% last year, we're talking about an effective tariff rate level, get this, 9 times as high this year than last year. But it's not just on tariffs, which of course Donald Trump ran on, in which you're seeing a tremendously influential presidency. What about immigration? Of course, Trump ran and has always run on a very hawkish immigration platform. Get this, 2025.
The most influential president in, 100 years since FDR. That's pretty good, 6 months in. But he's just getting warmed up. They must hate Harry at CNN, but he's doing a great job. Before we go,
I am pretty surprised they let him do this all the time.
I know, but they know. I mean, they're not stupid. I guess the CNN, executives have to know that that he goes viral. Harry goes viral, and they see the numbers, and they know Harry and Scott Jennings are saving their floundering network. But before we go, we got a minute to do this, because I challenge you, watch this and not laugh. See, it's kind of childish. It's kind of silly, but it's like when Ironhead plays Eric Swalwell farting. I mean, obviously juvenile, childish, but funny. You can't help but laugh when you hear Swalwell passing gas in the middle of a report. But this is Alex Stein of the Blaze. Alex is just crazy, absolute lunatic. He made an appearance before some town hall over the weekend too, talking about trans in the military. And he says he supports trans in the military because they're really good at mass shootings and they're suicidal. And he thinks they would be good suicide with a suicide vest. He said it right in front of a whole panel of Democrats. He goes to the edge and then he goes over the edge, no matter what he does. And sometimes it works and sometimes it just falls flat. But here's a report from the Texas State House in Austin and from NBC. And Alex Stein just interrupts and will not stop interrupting their report. And they don't know what to do. Again, I wouldn't do this. It is childish, but it is, you can't deny it. It is hilarious. Watch this.
Just watched the speaker gavel out with a whole lot of anger, Kelly. Here's the state of play. Here's the
MSNBC sucks.
Hey, how are you?
MSNBC sucks.
Talk to you for a second.
MSNBC sucks.
You can see.
Okay.
You can see the frustration.
Sometimes this happens, and we understand that can happen. And while we love free speech, we're going to keep control here. So, Ryan, thank you. Shaq, thank you. A volatile story. We'll be following it. And apparently, not only Shaq cleaned up. Okay. Stay with us here because Ryan has cleared the set, as we would like to say. The gentleman moved on. So, Ryan, let me turn back to you. Nicely handled there. Can you give us an update on, as you were walking us through this, we'll all take a breath there. Maybe not. Okay. Go ahead, Ryan. See,
hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to pull the plug there. Thank
Kelly,
you,
this
Ryan.
is all playing out in real time.
It sure
Passion is high.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of anger here, as you can see. So we're going to get control of this and come back to you.
Fair enough. And we recognize people are expressing their views.
That is such classic Alex Stein. He goes too far. Yes. And he is hilarious. And he's the most fearless guy. They don't even know who he is. I know who he is. He's from the Blaze, and I see his stuff, and he's great. And he's funny as hell. He goes to like rallies, trans rallies, and he just walks right through. They spit on him, and he laughs at them. He is absolutely fearless, and he is relentless.
He asked AOC one time about her big Latino.
Oh, big Latino booty. He wants to deport all illegal aliens except big booty Latinas. That's his take. He'll literally make a sign and say, "Don't deport big booty Latinas," and just they don't know what to do with him. Most of them are just humorless, miserable people, and he's always on. He's always performing, and oftentimes he's funny as hell. And that was funny as hell, even though again, it is kind of juvenile and rude. But can't say I didn't laugh. Can't say I didn't laugh. But he's great. He's great. But all right, that will do it for today. This busy Tuesday, and it's going to get busier. God, I hope these criminal referrals lead to indictments, arrests. We're going to be here for that, man. I cannot wait. But that will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat.